as far as everything else goes, I enjoyed this book. This book, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So this month we read When Strangers Marry by
Yep.
Lisa
Lisa
Kleypas?
Kleypas.
Kleypas.
Kleypas,
I
probably.
can't read. What the hell am I doing hosting? This is the Pretty Little Death. I'm the critic. This is the bestie. And we are going retro, guys. This book was
Yes.
published in 92.
The
Now,
year I was born.
oh my
It
gosh.
was. Yes,
I
ma'am. This
kind
book
of
came out, I think, a month after I came into this world.
I think I
Almost that.
actually remember like parts of 92.
Mm-hmm.
Um let's see. I was probably 5 or 6. So, like I remember 92. It was kindergarten
Mm-hmm.
year. Um
Aww.
oh my gosh. Okay, so this is one of my favorite all-time romance pocketbooks. And yes, that is a thing. It was a thing in the 90s, in the 80s, the 70s, and the 60s. Books came in this smaller size, guys, and they were called
Yes.
pocket editions. Um, just so you know, the husband and I went out for Easter, kind of. He bribed me to go to the grocery store, and that bribe was thrifty ice cream. And we were walking,
Yes.
yes, we walked around the Rite Aid, and they have a book section. And
Mhm.
the books there are all in pocket editions. And I actually saw one from an author that I used to read, Lindsay Sands. It has been
Nice.
there for at least 2 years. Like the pages are yellowing. All of the pages on all of these books are yellowing. Nobody has picked up these books to buy them. And so I'm going to make a call out to those who are able to do so. Go by your local Rite Aid and see what they have in their book section. Help put these
Do
books in
it.
in forever homes, okay? Um
Support your local business.
yeah. It was just funny. It was like, this was published in 2023. And look at, he's like, no, this is probably damage from light. And I was like, no, no, no. Yellowing pages just means it's been here for quite a while. Um, besides, it's a Rite Aid. They had, no, it's not like there's like windows everywhere. Okay,
No.
so this was our retro pick. We have like tossed around the idea of doing a retro romance read, and this was our first one. I did pick this one because I did remember it went fast. I did
Mhm.
remember that it was very good, and it kind of
Yes.
hit some like of those like feel good boxes.
It
And
does.
how long did it take you to read that?
It took not too long. I started at the beginning of April and I went really hard for about a week and
Mm-hmm.
I got to the last 3 chapters and then I took the rest of the April off to because I was obsessed with a video game. And
Oh,
then
isn't that just the way it goes?
yes, and then I finished the last 3 chapters in a day. In like a night. It wasn't that big. It wasn't
Okay,
that hard.
so we're not doing spoilers. We're not going to give a synopsis. We have
No.
a really good cast of characters, though,
Yes.
and I want to like start right off. What do you think of our female main character? I don't have my book with me, so I can't pull it up. Um,
Lizette is her name.
that's what I
She
thought
is
it
a
was, but
yes. She is. I love her. She's a fiery redhead,
mm-hmm,
and I love. She is a lot. I mean, it's still a tropey romance book.
mm-hmm,
She's still much younger than the love interest, and but she's already betrothed, like previously betrothed to a man that she doesn't want anything to do with, and then this
no,
guy comes in, this mysterious, dark, very like
broody.
broody, dangerous man comes into her life, and she is completely like smitten with him. and he is smitten with her right away.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically sweeps her off
Off her
feet.
feet. Yep.
And
quite literally, actually, because she gets sick.
Pretty much.
She gets sick and is gonna like tumble down some stairs, and he's like, "Nope, alley oop." This is an age gap trope, if there ever was one. There's also some revenge. There's some political intrigue. There's also like this blended family kind of thing going on too.
Yes.
What did you think about the twins?
I love the family so much.
So much.
So, I mean, all you do is get this kind of dangerous air and dangerous vibe from the male lead, which is
Maximilian.
Max, short Maximilian.
Yep.
And I love the setting so much too, because they're in the Louisiana
territory, not the state. It's the territory. This is before state.
It's the territory. Yep. And there's good old Creole, and the French language is very much prevalent in this book. But Creole French, it's a little...
It's different.
Different.
It's definitely different.
And it's fun. It's very fun to read that. And but anyway, I think I'm rambling.
That's fine. That's fine.
I enjoyed his family and how it's very much a found family, or like a mixed family. And the adopted sons and
those aren't adopted
brothers.
Sons. No, those aren't adopted sons.
Not adopted sons.
Those
are
sons
from the previous marriage.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, those are his sons.
Twins.
His
sons.
Yeah.
My apologies.
They looked very much like him. Like, I think
Yes.
it's the second chapter where she actually meets the twins first. I think she's like, what, 19? Something like that, 20?
Something like that.
And the
she's
twins are like...
very young.
Very young. And the twins are like 15 or 16. And they find her first and take her to Max. And the first thing she thinks is like, oh, these are just smaller versions of him. They look identical. Like, the only difference is their eyes. Like, she's like, okay, I get it. Those two are twins, but who the hell is this guy? And
exactly.
The way the twins are described, black hair, startling blue eyes. And I was like, man, why can't she end up with one of the twins? Like, I think it's Justin. He's the bad twin.
He's the bad twin.
Yep. Yeah. But he doesn't stay a bad twin. He
gets in a little trouble towards the end, but we won't go into it. But
yeah, Justin will always hold a soft spot in my heart. Like, I love him. I think rereading this, I realized how much I loved the character of Justin, because like it's that kind of like, oh, he's a bad boy because he's trying to get attention kind of thing, and then you're like, no, there's actually some like deep rooted things in his whole demeanor that just kind of unfold as the story goes through. But it's a very, very quick story. Like, I didn't realize until we were reading it that it goes by very fast. And it's like, what, 320 something pages?
Something like that. But it goes by very quickly. It's kind of played out like a slice of life. You know, you kind of see her kind of plucked by this man and their love journey together, which is pretty quick, but not too quick. Like, it's not a straight up smut. It's definitely a romance.
I think it actually, like, the whole story takes place over the span of like 3 or 4 months, because she's hiding out with him because she doesn't want to get married to Etienne. Yeah. So she's there for a couple of weeks. Then, no, like maybe a week and a half, I think it is. Enough to soil her reputation. And if you're listening to the podcast and not watching us, there are definitely heavy quotes on that. And then she's struck with yellow fever, and then she's there for over a month on top of the weeks that she had already been there. And then in Creole fashion, I guess, like their stay in after their marriage was like, what, 8 weeks?
Yes.
And then she can finally like rejoin society and stuff like that. So maybe 3 or 4 months. Yeah. That's all this, it goes very quickly. And I don't normally go for stories that just like, oh, we're skipping time so much, but it actually works in this one because
it does.
There's not a lot going on other than the political intrigue that we find ourselves in, or that Max finds himself in. Because that's very important. It comes back a couple of times, and like things that you wouldn't think are entwined in that are.
There's a little bit of a murder mystery aspect of it, though it's more political than it is like a straight, mystery. It's kind of plays into the trauma of the kids and the trauma of Max. It's a lot more in depth than it's definitely not a surface level.
No.
there's some depth to these characters which I didn't expect, really. And maybe that's kind of it's definitely a breath of fresh air, kind of comparing to a lot of these modern romances.
Yeah, contemporary romance. I wasn't gonna say it this time. I wasn't. Contemporary romance.
You almost did.
I I was like, I was thinking it was like, it's not modern. It's not modern. It's not modern. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't be that person. I almost said it, but no. I was like, no. She knows. She knows. I'm just being weird.
Slip of the tongue.
Contemporary romance definitely could use some pointers from some of these tried and true, but also let's recognize that these authors are also traditionally published, which means they have a lot of support on the back end after writing their manuscript. They have editors and proofreaders and stuff like that, and that costs money. Usually that's taken from the once the book is sold and published, that's then paid for through that. So not a lot of contemporary authors, I think, have those kind of resources to pay for those services that are inherently built into the traditional publishing machine. But
and it was also a different time too. I can only imagine the difficulty of with contemporary authors, how to mitigate social media and all that, when all these authors from the 90s just really
didn't have that.
They had magazines where they advertised,
right?
Or they advertised their books, or like there's Julia Quinn back here advertising her novels, and Joanna Lindsay, I think I have a couple of those books, and then Stephanie Lawrence.
I will tell you right now, I absolutely adore all. There's actually probably like 6 or 7 what we're now calling retro authors, romance authors that I absolutely adore, and 4 of them you just listed. So
all advertising at the end of this book,
right? In fact, I think you got me a couple of the Stephanie Lawrence for Christmas. I'm really excited. They're on my to be read shelf. Okay, so what did you think of the murder mystery? Because that is like prevalent from the very beginning. Everybody knows about it except for Lizette. Everybody is skirting around it, specifically around Lizette, except for Justin. What did you think when they first got brought up about Max's past by his own mother? What was going through your head?
By his own mom, I was thinking it's definitely not going to be him, because
it can't be, right?
It can't be right. And then also, I just don't think this is a book that was designed to have that kind of a twist ending, or kind of not really a twist ending. I was not expecting the level of politics involved in the the death of the wife. I knew it had something to do with probably one of the rival family members. I just didn't know that how it was going to. I did not know how it was going to unravel. I didn't expect it at all. I think, especially. I mean, I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it, but I did not expect.
Yeah.
Yes, I suspected the person, but I didn't expect the reason why.
Right.
I was like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because like the whole situation leading up to that, it was like every time it got brought up, it was skirted around, and there was a reason for the behavior, and the reason was very plausible. And even Max was like, no, this happened around the same time. Like, you need to give this person some grace. Like, that whole situation just brings up a lot of feelings for everyone in the family. And Lizette just kind of like is okay, but still kind of weird. And nobody, like, she doesn't really have anybody to really talk to about anything except for Max. And that was one of the things that is constant in contemporary romance is there's always the friend.
Yes.
The friend is supposed to be the board in contemporary romance. The friend becomes the talking to board when the main character wants to, and it doesn't matter if it's a main male or a main female. There's always a friend. They're telling this stuff to, even when it's in first person. Like, they don't need to do this, but they have to spill everything to the friend so that the audience has an idea of what the hell is going on.
Yes.
I hate it. I hated that. Like, within the first chapter, oh, she's got a friend. She's going to tell everything to the friend. And it's in first person. Like, why do you need this?
Yeah. I was thinking of this exact point. I'm glad you brought it up, because I noted at the lack of the best friend from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But I think it's also the fact that it's third person too, and then it's also its structure. It has tropes that were tropey probably back in the 90s, but it definitely doesn't have a lot of the contemporary tropes. The best friend is not ever present. She has to rely on herself and her own instinct.
Yeah.
And she's a lot more mature than you think she would have acted as a 19-year-old. But that also could be a sign of the time that this book was set in as well.
Yeah.
Because I think during this time, everyone was having babies by 19 anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, it also, like, in the culture, you would rely on your female relatives. They would be your friends, you know, until you got married. Until you got married, and then you made friends who were also married. But because of the whole situation that they found themselves in with the murder mystery, she didn't have that opportunity. So I think instead of relying on those external sources outside of the house, she, like, because she became really close with Justin. And it seemed like, even reading it for the fourth or fifth time, like I have, like, I noticed how quickly her relationship with Justin turned. You know, did you see that? Like, am I just looking too much into it because I've read it so much, or was it kind of sudden? Because it felt sudden to me. I haven't read it in like sudden. 10 years, so like, I'm kind of.
It felt
fresh.
sudden to me too.
Yeah, like at one point he's actively working against, not necessarily against her, but definitely against Max, and then all of a sudden he's like, he's her person, not in a friend way or in a weird way, but just like, if you need someone to relate to, I got you, kind of thing.
I think he empathized with her. I think there was a final level of empathy. So he decided to change his tune, I guess. So
I don't remember if that was before or after the duel.
Probably. I'm thinking of probably before. Probably before.
Okay. Because I know he was warming up to her with the watermelon. Obviously,
with the watermelon scene. Oh, it's so cute.
It's so cute. And then the end, I felt ruined when she like jumps up and she's like, "Both of you should be ashamed of yourself." And he's like, "I'd believe you if you didn't have watermelon juice all over your face." And she just kind of like gazes adoringly at him and grins. I was like, "Oh, you ruined it."
You did ruin it.
I thought that whole scene was perfect until like she gazes up and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and like
bats her eyelashes a little bit.
I was like, "Oh God, this could have been good," and then it's ruined. It's tainted. But then like
she can't be perfect. Okay?
No, I didn't think it was a her. I think that was an author choice. It didn't seem in line with her character up to that point, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So the brothers were one thing, but we also got to meet more of the family. It's not really extended family because they're his brothers, Max's brothers. We got to meet them. Of course, we have Max's mother, and this is on a plantation, people. We gotta state that right away. Like this was.
Oh yes.
On a plantation. It is referencing a time in our U.S. history that is not something to be romanticized. And I feel like in this book it wasn't actually romanticized. It was very plain. In fact, they were talks about getting rid of the type of management of humans that was going on the plantation. Like Lizette and Max have this conversation, like, you know, why are we still doing this? We're better than this. And he's like, well, you know, I just kind of inherited the problem from my father. And she's like, yeah, but do you want your sons to inherit this problem too? Like, this is unhumane and stuff like that. And it is. They did
address it.
They addressed it, and they were making active steps towards it when ultimately the book ends, and we don't know how it finished in that aspect.
For sure.
But because they were having that discussion, we get one of the most mind-boggling scenes that really busts open this murder mystery. And Lizette decides that she wants to go and see the place that the first wife died, which happens to be an old overseer's house that's like at the back end of the property. And their property like hits up against a bayou. So like, even though the body was there and found fairly quickly after the murder, it like she's thinking about how like because it's so close to the bayou, how it was lucky that someone was there to basically make sure the wife was all in one piece, because the animals could have gotten to her. But even just visiting, she's marveling at why the structure is still here, why this system of governance is still in effect, and why the bayou hasn't just like kind of reclaimed this part of the land, because that is also something like they talk about the encroaching of the bayou. And the house is like right on it, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right, yeah.
Like the land is just kind of being reclaimed by nature kind of thing when the rains come down. And she marvels that the building hasn't been washed away. So at one point, she urges Max to get rid of the overseer's house, if I remember correctly. I think Justin actually was like, we need to get rid of the house. Like, it doesn't need to be a shrine to my mother. Like, let's do something about it. So Max puts his brother in charge of his next brother, because he has two. He has a younger brother who is absolutely the youngest brother in every single way. And then his other brother is definitely has middle child syndrome.
Definitely.
Oh, it is so rank, the stink of middle child. And And so he gives his middle brother the task of removing the house. And stuff goes sideways real quick. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if it hadn't been for her pushing to help them all heal from the murder, we wouldn't have actually found out what had happened that night. Going back, though, we have Etienne, thank you, who was Max's best friend before this murder happened.
Yep.
And he is Lizette's first betrothal, and she does not like him. He says he's coarse, he's crass, he has no manners. He gives her basically the major ick, and he leers at her. Like I remember reading it for the first time. I'm like, I don't like this guy. I don't know what a leer is, but I don't like it.
He's icky.
But as the story progresses, you feel sorrier for him. Like he is a product of what happened to Max just as much as Max is.
1,000%.
And like you end up feeling really bad for him, especially towards the end. Like there's no doubt about at the end. Like I kind of like I remember. Like, after reading it the very first time, I was, like, 13, 14. I remember thinking, man, that guy, I wish he had his own story. I wish he got his...
Right?
Like, I wish we had
We need an Etienne spinoff.
Right. I wish he had gotten his happy ending in this book, because, like, at a certain point, I was just, like, kind of done with Max. Because of his refusal to talk to Lizette about the things he was hiding.
Yes. That did get tiresome.
Like, because he didn't mean to. He's just guarded. And it just kind of leaked into places that it didn't need to leak.
He was also terrified that she would, like, dump him and run away, probably, because...
She's a 19-year-old and he's got a past.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the past, he's got this reputation, and then also she's a baby.
Yeah.
She's really young.
Those lobes aren't lobing.
Not yet.
Yep. So we have reached our halfway point. We have a very juicy after show planned for today. If you are new to our channel, of course, we'd love for you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can find us on any podcast platform. We are everywhere. Or you can continue listening to us on YouTube because our podcast episodes are also loaded there. We do our book of the month every 24th, although I think I'm going to start like posting it later in the month, maybe. Give people some more time if they want to like catch up. But we are also looking for co-hosts to join our co-host pool. That means that you could join us, you could be on the screen with us, you could discuss the books with us, even help us pick the books of the month. Please join us on Discord if you want to apply. It's very easy. You don't have to do it every month. You know, it can be as much or as little of this as you want. Cass, I have some questions for you. Let me find the questions. I do this every single month. I always lose it. I should just write, like, title the document in my Kindle, questions. Okay. For When Strangers Marry, which actually is not the original title.
Yes.
The original title was Only in Your Arms, which she does say at the very end of the book. It's like, it's kind of one of those, like, it's a statement type thing. And then you're like, It doesn't make any sense, though.
It doesn't. You didn't lead anything up to this point.
No.
You didn't set this up right.
No. So I'm glad they did change the title of the book, because otherwise it would have been like, oh, okay. But they left that part in. And I always wondered, like, why they did that. But When Strangers Marry, what is your overall rating?
I'm giving this a solid 4 stars. I enjoyed my time all the way through. It was absolutely a romance. It hooked me a way that a lot of these kind of contemporary books don't. And it was fun, and engaging and a very quick read, and I do really appreciate the size.
Yes. Bring back the pocket editions.
Please bring the size back. Like, it's like perfect. I know this doesn't look as pretty on the shelf, but like, oh my god,
it's so good.
Like, my wrists don't feel like painful after reading a bunch of chapters.
This is a paperback, okay? It doesn't look great on the shelf either. It doesn't need to be this big. It doesn't.
Yeah, this is just like...
I will say, though...
my hand.
Yeah, you could put it in a Jinko pocket, okay?
I could put it... I could put it in one of my scrub pockets.
There you go. I bet you did. I bet lots of nurses did. Okay, so that's your overall rating. What was your spice rating? Because we didn't get a lot of scenes, guys. This is a pure romance.
So I appreciate the longing. Okay.
Yes, gotta love a build up.
I love the build up. The spice is good. It's good. I mean, it's vanilla, but what are you gonna get from a '90s romance? Okay?
You'd be surprised. Oh my gosh! Do not say that. Do not say that. You would be surprised. Let me find one for you, okay? If you ever finish Saving Grace, oh my gosh.
Saving Grace, okay. That'll be my next one.
Saving Grace is fantastic.
Okay. All right. Noted.
Okay. So, vanilla spice rating.
Probably like 2.5, maybe 3.
Okay. You know. That's not bad.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's there, but it's not like the point of this
Right. This, I would agree. This is definitely a 4. No, nothing got taken off because it's not in first person. It's just really quick, and I didn't realize how, like, the book in my memory, I remember it taking me maybe a week to read it, but, like, I was in high school, you know, so, like, I had class. I was reading this in between classes and at home, and I think, like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, like, all of my romance books when I was younger were all my mother's. And I now think of that as creepy, but at the time, I just needed something to read, okay?
Yes, yes.
That's all. I just needed something to read. So, yes, I will agree with the 4. It is very well written. I did have a problem with how big the font was. I didn't realize how big the font was.
Huge.
Like, it's like a 13, 14-point font. You know?
Yeah. So there's only like 3 paragraphs on a page.
It could have been, I think it would have been
could have been probably like
half that size if it was in like 10-point font. I mean, you know how small my font is on the Kindle. I have to ask if you like opened the spare Kindle I had that I lent to you. If you looked at the font, it's like my husband has looked over and he's like, "How can you read that without your glasses?" Like, I don't know. But a lot is on a page, so that's all I care about.
You get through it really quickly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If there are any corrections, what would they be?
I haven't given this a whole lot of thought. I think that... all of my issues with the story are probably things that do not make sense for the time that this was written.
Okay.
So I think this... I obviously would probably get rid of the age gap. That bothers me, but you know...
Yeah, okay. Max is 35, guys. Max is 35. She's 19. Let's get that one out of the way. Yeah, that's a big... I mean, I can't...
That's a big boy one.
In the post show, I'll tell you why I can't say nothing about it, okay? Not here.
But, again, it is what it is. You're gonna have these tropes. As far as corrections for the story, maybe a little bit more for foreshadowing of who the... Maybe it's because I'm dumb and it went over my head. I don't know. But, like, maybe just a little sprinkle of who was the culprit of the late Maximilian's wife. But it wasn't really talked about until the latter third of the book. Yes, they sprinkled, oh, yes, he's a murderer, he's got this reputation. But I understand why it was formatted that way, because you have to focus on Lizette and her romance with Max and them getting to know each other. And then, oh, lo and behold, there's a dead wife in the mix, and like, you should probably talk about that more. And then it just kind of like amps up at the very end.
Yeah. It wraps up very quickly. I would agree. One of the major corrections I would have would be the whole Hamilton Burr thing.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So,
but that's the thing. So back in the 90s, do they have all this information now about this situation?
I would say yes. I mean, the only reason people are hecka into it now is because of the musical. Alexander Hamilton was a weird and fascinating guy. But Aaron Burr, like the only thing people remember about Aaron Burr is the duel. That's okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So this, having him as a character it does kind of ground the story a little bit in the time period. But I could have done without it.
Of all the characters, why Aaron Burr?
I there was no point for him to be there, honestly. It did not really have anything to do with the story, except for at the end as a red herring type thing.
It was definitely a whiplashy kind of thing. I was like, is that the Aaron Burr? That's what we're talking about.
It was a choice. Okay. It was a choice, and
certainly.
I don't really know what the point of it was, other than to ground the story in the time period. But let's be real. If you think about it, other stories happening in the Louisiana Territory didn't need to do that for it to fill out the world. Case in point, Interview with the Vampire. You start before it's a state. It's not a state when you start Interview with the Vampire. It becomes a state during after Louis' transformation, and he still lives there in Louisiana after it becomes a state. It. You don't need to have historical figures pop up for the story to be grounded. So to me, I would take that out.
Bring up the Interview with the Vampire because of the setting is it's so
very reminiscent.
Similar.
Yeah,
very reminiscent. I don't know if you watched the new series, but
not yet.
It's pretty good. There's a lot of different twists to the original story, as you'll see. But
I heard it's fantastic.
It is fantastic. I could not read this book without thinking of Interview with a Vampire.
Really?
So
okay.
I couldn't, and it wasn't just the show; it was the original, the book and everything too. So it was just as far as the whole plantations and the setting.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what was a major plot hole for you?
Nothing glaringly obvious to me, but a lot of this stuff goes over my head. So, what about yourself?
So, a plot hole for me would have been Etienne's obsession with Lizette. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make a lick of sense at all, except for the fact that he looked at Max and was like, "Why her? I wanted one thing that you hadn't touched. Why her?"
Wasn't it his obsession from the very beginning, though?
It was that he sought her family out. She is no great beauty, as they keep saying over and over again. Max finds her absolutely. I hate it. But Max finds her utterly charming, and so does Max's mother. From the very beginning, she's smart, she's well bred, she's not pretty, and God, those freckles. But that's also a beauty standard of the time freckles and red hair, curly red hair, and the Louisiana Bayou were going to be absolutely difficult to deal with. Like, I get it, okay. But Etienne was obsessed with her. He sought her out and wanted to marry her. Like, she didn't know him. He really didn't know her. He was just like, okay, I need to get married. That's who I want to get married to. I'll go into an arrangement with her father to get her hand. And then, like, I think they met, like, a handful of times, and he was crude and crassed her, and she was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And she was out. Which, like, okay, I got it. You get vibes. I've ducked out of dates because somebody was, like, giving me the creeps. But
bad vibes.
The whole reason that he sought her was for something that's never really explained, and we never get the story of why he chose to betroth himself to Lizette. Which
but
then,
what if it was love at first sight, Christina Lynn?
I
what
mean,
if it was?
It would have been awesome if we'd gotten that answer. But all he says to Max at that party was, or not even at the party. I think it's at the duel later. There are multiple duels, guys. There's duels up in this bitch.
So
okay?
many duels. If Aaron Burr's in this story, there's duels.
There's gonna be some duels. Like, there's a school for duels in this town, okay, in the city. I can't remember where it is. Like, we started in Natchez.
I forgot about that.
And then we went somewhere else. That's where the twins. That's how the twins get, or how Justin gets injured. Is he is set upon by schoolmates of his as they are going to class at the dueling academy. Dueling is a very big part of Creole culture in this book.
Which I just want to know, historically, is this accurate or is this just pure fantasy? I don't know. Because that is so funny to me.
I think historically there were dueling masters. This is a part of cultural history that I don't know much about.
I don't either.
Honestly, there's a certain point when we get to the era of Mo and Darity, I kind of fall off because it's just not what I was interested in studying. But the whole modern era, there is a lot of stuff that goes on in that period of time. And this actually, I believe, is like near the start of the modern era. So, but it could also be like right in the middle of it. The modern era is actually quite a large period of time. But that's totally off topic.
Sorry.
That needs to be its own podcast.
Upset that.
Oh yes, Etienne is obsessed, and we don't know why.
And we don't know why.
I think it's during the duel where he's something happens at a party, and Max gets the duel. The whole reason Max tried to get Lizette tarnished and then married her was because he wanted to be able to avenge his honor against Etienne for something that happened, and I'm not going to say because it's part of the story and it's really good.
Right.
But during the second one, because like I said, there's multiple duels in this. All Etienne will tell him is why did you have to go after Lizette? That was mine, and it was something that you hadn't touched. Because Max was the golden boy in town before this whole murder thing happened. And I just want to know why. Why was he obsessed with Lizette? How did he come across Lizette? Because it's never fully explained. And
I think it's just to move the plot forward.
Yeah, but that doesn't, I'm asking the questions, okay? This is the plot hole for me. I'm asking the questions. And I wish there was a second book where we could explore Etienne and find out why Lizette. I do think there is another book in this series. I think this is part of a series, but I think it follows the twins and maybe one of the brothers. So,
which would make sense. I think when I read this, I was like, oh, there's absolutely going to be a follow-up story about the brothers.
And the twins, and so that was a plot hole for me. I think we've already answered our fourth question: romance, smut, or erotica. This is most definitely 90s romance to the T.
But it's so much fun.
It is fun. There are so many high points to even out the murder mystery in it that you forget at times that there is a murder mystery going on, that there are some really, really dark things happening just below the surface. All right, last question. Do you have something that we've talked about, or something that's been percolating that you want to ask me about this book?
Let's see. If you were to change one thing about Max, what would you change?
He is behaviorally. Okay, behaviorally. The only thing that comes to mind is the morning after the wedding. Or the morning after the consummation, I'll say.
It's the consummation, yeah.
Because the morning after the wedding, like, she is pissed. But the morning after the consummation, like, they are way too familiar. He is way too familiar with her. Like, she gets up and she's, like, walking around. She's in a robe. He's like, what did I do to you? And she's like, nothing I hope you won't do tomorrow. And,
right, exactly.
And he's just like, oh. And then it's like a switch was flipped. He was like the most charming, dashing man up until the morning after. And the consummation was done in a drunken stupor, which is not a good look in any situation. But the way he goes from a gentleman and dashing to just like I don't even know the word to describe it. It was just like, cold? Ooh. No, he wasn't cold. He was like it wasn't even lecherous, but it's like kind of lechery, you know?
Well, okay. Well,
that whole interaction, like, he was so debonair, and he does get it back in periods later on in the story. But there's just a suaveness to him in the very beginning.
Intrigue anymore.
Yeah.
It was like the suaveness turned to ick.
Yes. It became like,
ew.
Instead of like, we're learning each other still, because they are. It was like, oh, no, this is a solid thing. It's never going to change. We're 100% concrete foundation. Like, and
Turns out this is part of my personality.
I was like, oh, that's okay. Maybe keep the mistress and leave some mystery. Like, cause it just, I
didn't expect that answer. I love it.
It just changed, and I don't.
It definitely did change.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, that was the one thing that I would change. Is I would want him to continue being like, because he's like he's as tall as your husband, as written in the book, for Christ's sake. Yeah, and she is like 5'2", like, and all of a sudden he's just a giant puddle of goo around her. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, the pussy was not that good. Okay, like
19, you guys,
and first man ever. So like, okay. Nope. Starfish. It's got to be a starfish school, okay? That's what it is.
It's what's it called? The wading pool or whatever it is?
Yes, it's a tide pool of starfish.
The tide pool.
That's what their consummation wedding bed was, a tide pool of starfish.
Oof.
Well, okay. I do have a book of the month for next month.
Yay.
And then we have already planned June, guys, and we're going to talk about it in the post show. So, I mean, get ready for that one, because the only way you're going to hear the release of what our June book of the month was, which, by the way, I want to say that I actually had something else planned for June until we got the notice. Okay. And I'm going to be very pissed if it doesn't happen. So if it doesn't, I have a backup plan. And it's going to be something different for us, but I'm excited. Yeah. Okay.
Ew.
So where is it? And it pairs so well after what we just read. That's the best part.
Yay.
Hold on. I had it here. I've been humming that at work, and it drives my new boss crazy because then she can't get it out of her head. Okay. Where is it? I know it's here. I got it specific. I've downloaded so many books recently that it's like now buried a little bit. Okay, I think I'm getting close to it. Okay, we're gonna do the search. I know it's gonna pop up in my search. Okay. From my library, I have 32 books with this keyword in it. Okay, including a series we just spoke about. Okay. I can't find it.
Okay.
I will get it and I will post it.
Did you send it to me?
No. No, I didn't. And oh, here it is. I found it. Okay.
Yay.
Next month, for the month of May, we are going to read Kade's Dark Embrace, an Immortals of New Orleans vampire romance.
Oh my god, excellent.
So,
did you plan this out?
I got it in March. After we had decided on When Strangers Marry, I found this. It was on a Stuff Your Kindle day, and I was like, okay, perfect. I don't know anything about it. I haven't even cracked it. I've downloaded it. That's it, okay?
Okay.
It is not, as far as I'm aware, let me open it and get to the thing. I got it through a Stuff Your Kindle day. It is by Kym, that's Kym, Grosso, Grosso. It is Kade's Dark Embrace. Come on, don't do this to me, Kindle. It has 8,841 reviews. It is sitting comfortably at 4 stars on Kindle. It is, I'm pulling up the shop page now. It is not available through KU. Okay, it's 270 pages long. It's going to be quick, and it was published March 5th of 2012. So this has been here for a minute. Right now, you could probably get it for free. Oh no, I got this Stuff Your Kindle in December of 2024. So you could probably buy it for like 99 cents right now on Kindle. Because you have my my spare Kindle cast, you probably have it there too.
Sweet.
So I'm going to let you read it first. Okay? And it'll pop up as a finished book in my library, and then I'll read it. So yeah, that's what we're going to read for the month of May, guys. And it's part of a series. It looks like interconnected standalones. But it is a vampire book, and it is set in New Orleans. Okay, Cass. Yay. I have a book recommendation for you. I am currently reading it. I think you're going to like it. I'm only 23% in, okay?
Yes.
It is dark. It is.
Yes.
So good. I've been stuck in dark stuff. Okay. Oh, and I have been writing again. Oh, hold on. No, I'm going to share that in the post show. Never mind. Shut up. Whatever. Okay.
Join us for the post show, guys.
Join us for the post show. It is available on Discord right now for our members only. We gave some teases the last couple of months so you guys could get a taste of what our post show is like. It was only available on Apple Podcasts, but Apple said, no, Pretty Little Death, we don't see a value in your post show for members only. And so we said, okay, fine. Discord, you get it for being a paid member. So join us on the Discord. The link is in our bio. Cass, I have a book.
Yes.
And I think you're going to like it. It is on KU.
Yes.
It is currently in my library. Wait until I'm finished, bitch, before you start reading. And it is called